All right, good day and welcome to Commerce Today. My name is Darin Newbold and very excited to be here and also have a return guest, Anna Krzyżańska, one of our solution architects, and very excited to have her here to talk about unlocking project success, mastering the discovery phase. Welcome, Anna. Glad to have you.
It's good to be back.
I appreciate that. Well, let's just get started. So, can you explain a little bit about the discovery phase, why it's important?
Okay, so in creativity, the discovery phase is just like an initial stage of each project. We try to analyze the business of the client. We try to make our own research. The main objectives there is to basically clarify the project requirements in that discovery phase, find some potential risks of the project, and sometimes we are even able to basically create a very specific project scope based on that discovery phase.
Well, perfect. So it sounds like it's the discovery is very crucial to putting a project together and getting it going. Um, Even so crucial that how can it kind of really help reduce and improve the overall planning of making a project successful?
So the initial phases of discovery is that we need to bring all the stakeholders in one place as early as we can and start to gather the data. And this is it has a huge impact after all when we start execute the project, because it the way we work and how we proceed with the discovery phase bring us more realistic timelines, more realistic budget, um, you know and we are sure that everyone are on the same page, all the stakeholders, any kind of um, uh, people that are involved in the project have the same
Right.
understanding what's going on, what needs to be done.
Perfect. Perfect. And, gaining all of this information really puts us in a place to know, basically create expectations for both sides, for both us as the agency as well as for the client. So as you're doing this, I can imagine that there's some very key questions that need to be asked to really dig into a lot of this information. Can you share a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so I will start with that. We need to make something to collect the requirements, right? So we are trying to gather business requirements from our clients, and to do that, we need to ask a very specific questions. Sometimes there are very simple questions, sometimes there are very complex questions. Um, but when we bringing these questions to the table to our clients, it's very important because it can push the client to rethink some of the needs he is presenting to us, based on different perspective, like technological perspective that sometimes changes the business requirements and the other way around. So this is very crucial to find a common ground, and on that ground prepare that list of questions and be on the same page that we are not asking those questions just because we want to look professional, for example. We ask you those questions because we want to know your business, we want to know what you need. and
Absolutely.
i and that's very important part. We want to know what you need from us.
So, so
And
as
yeah.
you're kind of thinking about this, what do you have maybe an example or two of some key questions that help kind of unlock those stakeholders into sharing the information that's going to impact the whole discovery phase as well as the estimates for time and the budget for what's going to be needed to get the project done? What are maybe some examples?
In my mind, I always see the client that just get this very general question from someone like, what do you need, right? This is a very general question, and it always gives an incomplete answer. You will never get all the information you need to discover the business, to find the best solutions for your client, to find how to bring the best performance to your store, for example. So we are focusing on you know asking very specific questions like, where was the last time you did, for example, an audit of your performance of your store, right? And that can bring all the topics that are connected to your performance of your business, the store performance, for example. Um, there's other many questions we can ask, right? That will basically trigger some kind of like, oh, okay, so there's also this thing I should think of, like, and I didn't. So yeah, it's our job to ask those questions and trigger a client to find maybe even a new approach to the business. Sometimes it happens that there will be a new approach to do something in the new project, because in the old project it actually didn't impact at all. Like the impact on the business was none. And this is a good idea, but the way how it was done, um, actually, the final conclusion was it doesn't do anything. But we can make it a little bit different from a, maybe gather more information about clients from a different source, maybe use it a different way to find a new um, group of clients. So there's a lot of things we can do, things we can ask.
So what I hear from you on this is that there's no there's no standard list of, hey, these are the exact questions you have to ask. There's probably a list of key questions that need and must be asked, but what you're asking, really, even as in our show notes here, I'm pointing at it here on my screen, but is, your first question was, what do you need? And almost like a mind map, if you will, of putting that as the circle in the middle, and then drawing your conclusions from that, and then that just creates opportunities for more questions that take you down different paths. But like you said, there's kind of those standard things that you need to know about, whether or not they've done a performance audit, the technology behind their store, and the back end, as well as what they want to see on the front end. So all of these things come together when you're doing these discovery workshops, and the discovery phase, if you will. But kind of going down now maybe a little bit more is, we've talked about how this can help with the accuracy of estimates, so, or at least say that it impacts it. Can you tell me a little bit more about how this helps you and helps the team really get more accurate with our estimates?
So, as I already mentioned, we have a research and analyze phase in the discovery phase itself. We also have this phase where we ask a lot of questions and it brings new perspectives. And those new perspectives, in most cases, brings new requirements. And the more requirements we have, it's actually not something that decide that the project will be huge. The new requirements means that we know more, and more we know, uh, the accuracy of the ballpark will be basically grow, because we use the estimation range when we make a ballparks. So the more information we gather, the narrower the range becomes. And this just and as a result we have just more precise ballpark for our clients. But I need to add one more thing, is that in many cases our clients expect that they will get a one ballpark estimation, right? I think so. Like, yeah, I will probably get one number or maybe two numbers. But this is not our assumption right now. When we are making a ballpark, we really want to check few ways. Like we can propose you an MVP version, but in free variants. So you can actually see like what kind of values for what budget you can bring with MVP version, because for us the MVP version can include some requirements that we think uh, they should be prioritized to bring, for example, more revenue to our client. And the client can think like, no, this is actually, maybe some of those positions are okay, but I want to also add those things because I know they bring value also, and we know it. We have proofs. We can show you like this requirement needs to happen in MVP. So we want to be flexible. We want to show you the options so you can, budget wise, time wise, and any other wise thing, you can you can basically choose the best option for you, and then,
Absolutely.
for example, what will be after MVP of the project.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. When you're talking MVP, just for those in case you don't know, minimum viable product. So basically, the minimum that's required to put together the basically to bring forward uh, to the world, if you will, in your store and in the project. And then what you're saying, Anna, is really breaking that down and going from an MVP to then kind of a phase one, phase two, and beyond, so that taking this huge undertaking that might be, hey, we're going to redo someone's store completely from practically from scratch, that we have to be careful because trying to do that, there's so many things that we don't even know that we don't know. And so yeah, doing things this way really does help with the accuracy of your estimates and helps keep things on track, on time, and it creates better expectations for the clients. So, well, we it wouldn't be we can't talk about all the roses and bunny rabbits here. What are some challenges that you faced during a discovery phase, and maybe some ways you got through it or were able to manage around it?
So for sure there's many people involved in discovery phase from our side and the client side of and in that case, it means that it's resource
Intensive.
that the resource management can be hard because you need to
Yeah.
manage to communicate between a lot of peoples and make sure that they are on the same ground with everything we approved. So that can be a challenge. It is time consuming for sure because there's a lot of talks that needs to happen. You need to bring your perspective. You need to be open for other perspective people, of the perspective of other people's in the project. So yeah, so it can be, yeah, it can be hard to manage all of it. But in that case, it's good to have tools that can help us. There are tools that can help you with discovery phase in that cases, and we use them. So uh, it's a little bit easier. Sometimes it's hard, but it's a little bit easier with those tools.
Well, very, very good. Um, what so then kind of bringing this all together, what do you find are some best practices to really have the most effective and and the best discovery phase that you can?
Um, for sure, first engage any kind of person that needs to be engaged right at the beginning of the project. Avoid situation where you, for example, want to discuss something with someone from marketing team, for example, but you will wait for 1 month, for example, and you go to that meeting with some agreements with different people, and then the person on the other side say, no, it cannot work like that, and you need to go back right where you started. So yes, bring the right people at the beginning of the project, the people that you need to know that they agree with you, what you discuss together. The second thing, make a huge research about your client. Like there's a lot of information of any kind of client right now in the internet, so use it. Bring those value to your meetings, that you know your client, you know what they are doing, and it also help you find their perspective even before the meeting is um, uh, happen. um, I think the next one would be to never think that business requirements are done. Like you wrote down business requirements and they will not change. You need to always be open-minded to change those business requirements, because new information can come anytime, and you need to be flexible for that
Let me
matter.
ask you something
And
real quick on that, Anna.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to ask you something, because what you're talking about is really refining continuously the, the business requirements and even the estimates. And one of the challenges you mentioned is you needed to talk to marketing. It takes a month to hear from marketing. Well, in that month, all of these things may have changed. And so the proverbial line in the sand has completely gone and we don't know where it is. So one of the things, and I think you're about to get to it, is kind of using tools, project management and estimation tools, to really help you define and help you draw maybe that line in the sand, so that people know, okay, based on the information we know today, this is how this project's going forward. If it changes, we'll refine, but we've got to, you kind of have to draw a line somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. I would not say that better, to be honest. Yeah, we have tools. We have tools. The tools that are, in some cases, prepared for project management, and the discovery phase is basically a project that we need to do. So those tools are very helpful. We also have some estimation tools. We know that AI is bringing some new values to how we estimate things. So this is something, of course, new, but I'm pretty sure it's, maybe in half of a year, I will say that I'm only using one tool right now to estimate, because everything is automated. So if you have a tool for estimation, use it as much as you can. Share it with all the people so everyone can see what's going on with those estimations, with those business requirements. Yeah, and I think that's also like a very important thing, to never forget to ask those questions. I know it's
Absolutely.
like I'm repeating myself, but without those questions, we will never be able to bring the accuracy we would like to, with the ballpark, with everything, including you know uh, all the steps in the discovery phase we are doing.
It is so crucial to
Mm,
ask lots of questions, and often you have to ask the same question multiple times to multiple people, so that it's not uncommon to get three different answers or five different answers from three different people, and that can be very, very difficult. Well, Anna, I want to kind of just maybe put a little bow around all of this and summarize as we kind of get to the end here. But the big thing about really, mastering this and having a great discovery and putting it all together is, you got to have that foundation for the project and do your research beforehand. Get your clarity with all of the stakeholders. Be accurate as possible when you're putting together ballpark estimates, and then really kind of put it together. And I think one of the things we just got to remember is that this is a constantly refining process where it's continuous. It's kind of like you're almost, once the project's starting, you, it's like this discovery, this big ball is just continuing to roll, and we just refine, change it a little bit, and keep moving. Does that sound about right?
yeah, I agree strongly.
Very,
Agree.
very good. Well, Anna, as always, thank you so much for being here, and thank all of you that are listening. We encourage you to subscribe, check out our podcast anywhere and everywhere on YouTube under Commerce Today, as well as look up Joshua Warren. on LinkedIn, and you'll find us there, and really connect into all of the great things that we're doing here. So with that, we appreciate you. You take care and have a great day.
You too, Darin.